want to make the scene because this is already getting into a good conversation. Dude, a league is so cursed because like there was a point where even after I was winning, I was like, dude, I kind of hate this.
I fucking love it, dude. League is so fun.
Dude, if you're like, there are people that are like, yeah, I'd be down to play League, but only in a party. I'm like, yeah, I feel that, and then a party never happens, which I'm fine with. But
I think the problem
what got
specifically with is that when you get a bunch of randoms, the more people on your team that are randoms, the more likely you are to experience like a buttload of fucking toxicity.
Dude, I forgot how
League of Legends is by far the most toxic game I've ever played.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot how to add the appropriate filter to this. My
camera's looking right at my fucking window. How did that happen? Oh well.
I forgot how to do this. I'm just gonna do this simply and then edit it in post. This actually looks pretty good as is.
I just don't like having this bright ass fucking light right here.
You're good. It's not that bad.
Yeah. I had it set up on my monitor over here at one point, so you can see like this whole corner here. I'm thinking about rearranging my wall decorations. I've got like actual movie posters and shit now from the theater.
Yeah, me and Cody moved recently. I don't know if you know, but we moved in together. And
oh yeah, dude.
I mean, literally everything behind me is so bare bones. Like the stuff around me is like cool. Like I have a bunch.
You at least have it's a pretty that's
and then like sound
fuck.
foam on the wall.
It's at least a.
Nice.
I don't know if it's just your lighting, but the wall color looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it just might be the lighting. Is my camera gonna focus?
Because it looks like it might just be white walls with like different color from the lights.
It is. That's pretty much exactly the way it is. We live in an apartment, so we can't really do too much with the walls, anyways. Even if we wanted to, which we do. So all we can really do is hang stuff up, and there's still a bunch of stuff I need to hang up, and then order, and then.
I think that's my exact fan right there.
I believe it. I mean that bitch has been clutch, absolutely. Yeah, that is the exact one. I do fortunately have we're just talking about the fucking layout of our places now. I do have
except I never use cam when I do any content anymore.
If you just put like a filter over your mic, like a noise gate, it won't be able to pick it up, which is like pretty nice. That's what I've been doing. Do you know how
for the camera?
No, for the mic.
Oh no, I was talking about the camera. I never use my camera.
Oh, well, I mean, if that's your vibe, but I think we can get into things. I think we can get cracking. And I'm gonna get this started by saying, what's up, everybody? I just had like a Windows error in my brain, girl. What's up, everybody? My name is Sen. Welcome back to the channel. And I didn't think I'd be doing a follow-up to my previous video, but with that being said, I did want to bring up one thing before we actually got cracking. Jason messaged me. He's like, I didn't think you'd be so like savage towards Mark. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, and then I looked at the video back. I'm like, this really isn't that bad. And then I got to the end. I'm like, I could see how that could be like misconstrued.
Yeah, you get a little snarky in a couple spots.
So some of the snark, like half the video is like serious, and then the other half is like jokey, snarky. But like at the end, I was just like, I could see how that could be like misconstrued.
Yeah. I think that also. I feel like, because obviously this is, my view on the game is a little more complicated than 4 sentences, but that's all you got was 4 sentences. And I think that because, it's a limited amount, and then it was probably presented with a certain level of context that you didn't get.
Sure.
There's probably a lot of having to read into to turn it into a full video.
Which is even more so to the fact that I'm glad to have you on. I'd love to hear more of the kind of fullness of your opinion.
Yeah, man.
And that's why I hunted you down and ball gagged you.
That's what happened. That's what happened. It definitely wasn't like 30 minutes after you uploaded. I said, hey, let's chat.
Let's have a meaningful conversation about the state of this game, which if it wasn't apparent from like the first handful of sentences, like I'm not crazy about this version of the game either.
Yeah. You and I was watching Lotus Asakura was talking about it too. You're not super big on it, which is fair. I think that like if I were to give like my honest view of what I think the trajectory of the game is right now, I think that they're more focused on trying to make the game feel like there's explosive moments where you feel super cool rather than making the game feel like a push, like a give and take kind of thing.
Well, and sadly,
they more want you to just be like, all right, well, I'm pressing buttons now.
Yeah, sadly, that's just because like the term direction for the game is kind of the operative word there, because there really is no direction. Like, it's no longer being viewed or seen as a competitive game. People are still going to compete in it, but it's literally Dragon Ball's, in my eyes, Dragon Ball's last hurrah of like, oh, this is our last patch. We're gonna turn everything up to 11, and if you guys hate this version of the game, sucks. We're not gonna touch it again.
Yeah,
that's
like you had plenty of years to enjoy the game.
Yeah, and
now it's time to
put
it down
fucking
in a
said to
burning
me,
ball of trash.
Someone said to me, it's just like, I commented on like a TikTok or whatever. I was just like, "Oh, this is a fun patch, not a good patch," and because I saw some shit on TikTok that was like broken and stupid, and they were just like, "Dragon Ball needed a fun patch." I'm like, "What do you think the last patch was? Like, this shit's already crazy from the last patch to 1.32, and now 3.3 is."
I mean, I'll be honest. If we roll it back 2 patches and we talk about the state of the game, it's pretty clear, even to casual players like me, that the fusions and lab coat were running rampant, and every other character, probably either needed a little bit of work or was where the fusions and lab coat should be. So I think that if they wanted the game to continue being competitive, they probably should have brought the fusions and lab coat down to that level, brought the weaker ones up to that level, and try and balance that way, which is obviously not what they did. They kind of just buffed everyone twice.
Well, and
except Videl, we needed to nerf her second 5L. It was too strong, bro.
So,
too strong.
I definitely wanted to get your take on that, which was I thought it was a bit weird too. But before that, actually, like, I wanted to, not necessarily for you, maybe if you didn't know this as well, but top tiers have to exist in games. It's just the nature of games.
Sure.
You're gonna get
you're always gonna have a top tier.
Exactly, and it's just a case of that. Very likely, Bandai and Arxis wanted the perceived strongest characters in quote-unquote lore of the game, or just whatever. They wanted those characters. Yeah, they wanted those characters to be the best. So, and
yeah, I mean, that's fair.
That's kind of
I think the problem is, so like, I guess we can kind of just get into the points I wanted to bring up.
By all means, kick us off.
Well, I'll skip the first one to go to the second one because it's relevant. So the second one, I brought up the most powerful characters in the previous patch before these two made it through these patches without really anything happening.
Well, that's not true either. They got stronger.
I said something kind of like I said something kind of like nothing changed it, that they were super OP, and to an extent, it was. It felt like in the video you kind of read that as they didn't adjust them at all, as you went through their changes, and maybe that's not what you meant, but that's kind of what I read as.
It was a bit of a jokey take on that. I would say.
Yeah. I think mostly my point in that sense was the characters aren't overpowered because they're like, their numbers are higher, or they have more unblockables or whatever. The reason that they kind of sucked and were overpowered is mostly just because they're cheap, right? And when we talk about cheap in the sense of a game, cheap just means that like you're putting in less skill to get more value. And that's kind of what these characters felt like. Is like, oh yeah, you can be, there's a vast difference between the worst Gogeta Blue player and the best Gogeta Blue player. You watch both of them play, and it's going to be hugely different. But if I put the worst Gogeta Blue player and the worst Super Saiyan Goku player against each other, the Gogeta Blue player is probably going to win most of the time, just because he can spam a bunch of broken bullshit, right? Like, because his character is actually just cheaper, So that's kind of where I was coming from with that.
With that, it's part of it comes down to the entirety of the design based around their kit as well, and it's just a place of either they want this character to be like have a high ease of use, like low barrier for entry, something like that, or they just like where he's at. It's just Bandai's favorite, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, like we want this character to be like full of bullshit. If you wanted fundamentally the character to change, you would have to change almost the entirety of their kit. And with this being the last patch, that wasn't Arxis' goal. It's just, once again, to turn everything up to 11. Balance patch is not the right word for it. It's definitely a bullshit patch.
It's just a patch.
Yeah, I mean... And with that, like, I mean, I wanted a balance patch. I wanted a proper...
I think everyone wanted a balance patch. I don't think a single person was saying, God, I hope there's a patch where Gogeta gets better. I don't
God,
think anyone was
I hope
saying
there's
that.
a patch where everybody gets armor on everything, and oh, dude.
Oh my God, bro.
No,
I watched
love
a
it.
Cloud video and he was playing GT Goku. Bro,
Mhm.
what the fuck?
The reverse Kamehameha, the 214S.
Yeah, why? Like, just literally why? And so they give him that, and then fucking Videl can't hit standing targets with their second 5L. What is that bullshit?
Well, so I wanted to mess around with Videl because I wanted to see
I played her when I was playing with them.
I wanted to see if she had anything like a 4LL, which would kind of like replace the 5LL. That would kind of help her out. But it does suck that you have to think more. They give her access because of that. If you just mash out the whole auto combo, she kind of gets a tick throw. But at low levels, like everyone mashes anyways, so it's
I mean, like,
a bit of a catch-22.
It wasn't super noticeable for them when we were playing because they would block through my entire auto combo when I would do it. But it was noticeable for me when I would hit them and they were blocking, and then I wouldn't hit them when they were blocking, and I'm like, oh, they could literally have just punished me there, you know? It's really weird. Why? Why did we ban? Why did we nerf Videl? I don't get it.
I don't know. Like, well, people were talking about.
Don't get me wrong.
It's a nerf and a buff because of the tick throw property.
Sure.
But
it's an adjustment. As they call it.
You really have.
Don't get me wrong.
Like,
I understand that Videl is super scrappy and is really annoying for people that don't know that Videl is super scrappy. She kind of can just be all over the place. She has all sorts of different tools. None of them are great tools, but they're all good tools.
Yeah,
and like, I get that, you know. But like, we took away that, but we buffed Gogeta. Like, I don't know, man. That just seems kind of sus to me.
No, it is.
But anyway, that's
weird.
not even one of my main complaints about why I don't want to play the game. I just think it's fucking weird.
Well, and kind of reverting back to that a little bit. I mean, at the end of the things, if you really don't want to play the game, that's totally fine. I have no problem.
Yeah,
with that.
That's actually my first point. So I feel
is it
like
just flat out that you don't want to play the game?
So I feel like the based on how the video started, I feel like it was presented to you that I wanted to play this game.
Jason,
hang on a second.
You're fine.
Oh fuck, what was my train of thought? So So I feel like the way this was brought up, so it seemed like Jason's understanding, because let me give you kind of what happened. So me and Jason were playing Stellaris, and then Rob typed in the voice chat, and I was like, you know what? I'm really not feeling Stellaris. You want to play something else? He's like, sure. And he's like, you want to play Fighters? And I'm like, I'm not really into Fighters anymore. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I can download Fighters real quick. We can play some Fighters. You know, mostly because new patch, wanted to play it, see what's going on. So I played a team of Videl, Bardock, Goku Blue.
Okay.
And I had a lot of fun. You know, I was enjoying it. Bardock feels really good. I don't really know what changed. Maybe he was always this good, and I just wasn't good enough when I played him. But he felt really fun. And then like I was like, yeah, you know, this is fun. I'm having fun. And then throughout the day, I did way better than I thought. I probably won like 40 to 45% of the games I played, which I thought was really impressive. Yeah. And then there was a point where Jason was playing his zoning team, right? And I'm like, this isn't fun. I don't enjoy this. And I think he took that as me being upset. And I think that the reason I think that is because you said apparently there was some sodium in the video. And I think that there's this problem, and this is a problem with a lot of people, where anytime anyone voices any discontent in a video game, it's automatically salt, which downgrades their criticisms, right? So I wasn't upset. I wasn't frustrated. I wasn't angry. I was just like, this isn't fun. I don't enjoy this. And then I still played a little bit after that, and then I was like, all right, I'm getting up. And so shortly after that, he messaged me, so I already knew that he kind of took it as I was salty, which I wasn't. And then so
but now I am
that short. I'm not mad. But I gave him that short description, which I think he took under the context of me being upset still, which I was not.
Sure.
So my biggest complaint about the game is that I just don't enjoy the way the projectiles work. There's too many. They're too oppressive. They're whatever, and that's fine. I'm just not playing the game because of that, right? Like if other people like it, and in fact I like it too, because I like watching people play the game. I just don't like playing. You know, I still watch Lotus Outscore. I still watch you. I still watch Cloud. You know, so it's like I felt like there was this. I felt like there was this disconnect in the conversation where it seemed like there was like, I don't know what he told you, but I would assume that it was something along the lines of, yeah, man, I was playing with Olaf and he got really salty at my zoning team, and is it wrong to be doing that? Is zoning overpowered? No. And it's like, And at no point did I say any of that. Obviously, I even told him at one point, I get why he uses teams like that. It makes sense to me, especially in lower tiers. People are going to be very susceptible to that kind of play.
Yeah, absolutely.
My main thing, and I actually sent him a message afterward that I don't know if you got, where I basically said the problem for me, I think the game's fun. The problem for me is just that I feel like I have to do chores before I get to the part of the game so it's not even that the things in the game are a problem. I just don't enjoy doing the chores beforehand.
Yeah, well, okay, so chores beforehand is kind of like the operative thing. And there was a bit of like, I really didn't know like what the case was of like, oh, and that's even more to the part where I'm glad that you're on here in the first place, because we get your perspective. Just like,
Yeah.
I believe you when you say that you weren't actually salty. I believe.
Yeah, I don't get mad at games anymore. Like, that's why when I have criticisms, like, oh, you're just salty, and I'm like, not really, man. I'm just like, I'm not having fun, so I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah, people. I even kind of addressed that, and maybe it came across the wrong way of just like on the back of what seems like defeat. It's very easy for something to like come across as like saltier than it actually is.
Right. Right.
Because
I'll tell you, because I know that it's because I think I lost that game that I was like, this isn't fun. I don't enjoy this. But even if I won, I would still be like, man, I just
how
don't
I feel about
it.
League.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like.
So like with projectiles, and I even said in the video, it's just sadly attached to the IP. Like, you're gonna get projectiles.
I understand that
everywhere that you go. But
here's the problem I have with this idea. This is mostly a fan perpetrated idea that projectiles are essential to Dragon Ball. The majority of fights in Dragon Ball either don't have projectiles, or the projectiles only happen after a clash or after a heavy hit. Right? Like, because
they have
in the show, the projectiles are slower than the fighters.
Sure.
And so if I just throw a Kamehameha wave at someone, they'll just dodge out of the way. So I think it's an unfortunate. It's unfortunate that like heavy scenes like the Cell Kamehameha scene or the Spirit Bomb scene in the Buu Saga, like those are super prominent to us because those scenes came after fucking like 6 hours of animated fighting where they beat the living hell out of each other and were just so tired that they couldn't move out of the way anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, and if you think about it, like as good as projectiles are and as omnipresent as they are, technically they only take up like a fourth of anyone's given kit other than super moves. So
sure. Which is fair. I think my point is that like and it's important it's also important to state this, and I kind of went into a debate mode a little bit when I watched the video.
Sure.
Because it seemed like you were interpreting a lot of what I was saying as statements of fact, which basically means that I'm making a statement that isn't opinionated, right? And one of the statements I made was a statement of fact where I said this did happen, which is the fusions not really being nerfed. Everything else I said was basically just my belief based on my perception. I was like, I feel like it feels to me like the neutral game has turned into just kind of poking at each other from a distance. So, and this is another thing I wanted to bring up, man, because this actually triggered me so bad. When you started showing the parts where people were knocking each other down, you're like, oh, well, they're going to back up here, right? I'm like, that's not neutral. Okay.
And I see how you get that, because Jason literally sent me, like, a little while after. I was like, he messaged me about the video. He's like, oh, hey, here's a match of me and Rob. And then I was just like, damn, if he's, like, playing Jason and Rob, and yes, they do that a lot, where
yeah, exactly.
and that in part that's my fault, because it's a very good beginner like tool to use and like make access of, but it's not
and it's not just them too, it's mostly in the lower ranks. That's just how
that's because people don't actually know how to play neutral at lower ranks, and even I've been
because neutral in this game is pretty hard, right? Like neutral's not actually that easy,
not terribly. No. And I won't lie, like, yeah, it's absolutely strategy. I've used it before, and on the back of that, actually, I was like, damn, it would be really interesting to use a team of just defensive assists, like Gohan A, 18A, Goku B, Goku Blue B, or like Bardock A, and like you saying a Lariat assist is defensive is kind of like half the equation, like it's an offensive too, but
yeah, but it's offensive if you're already offensive, right? Like you can't just like standing Lariat at someone and expect it to do anything.
Totally. So yeah, I was just like,
Whereas C
that
assists, you
team
can just
would
play
be.
3 C assists and throw 2 of them at him and hope he stops blocking.
Yeah, I won't lie. That is, I mean, you run into it. You're not wrong. Excuse me. I know where you're coming from on that, and like projectile assists are very good because I think of them a lot like rooks in chess, where they're used more for like, or at least how I use them is for like trapping or like
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
getting my offense started, like cutting off a portion of the screen and being able to go in. It's very rare. Like once someone gets started, like zoning truly doesn't exist in this game, and if it does, you have to actually be so good to do it well.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's important to note, I think the only, like, maybe, well, like, Frieza,
Freeze is like
maybe,
the
like,
dedicated
that's,
zoner.
like, probably the closest to zoning is those two, you know?
Yeah.
So, like...
And even then...
This game doesn't have a lot of zoning. I think the problem for me is just the beams itself.
Sure, like, and with that too, like Frieza being the dedicated zoner, like he's been bottom tier for so long because
Oh, yeah,
of it.
No. I've never, at no point did I ever have the assumption that this was a good strategy.
No, like, but
Yeah.
it's almost cool to see someone like deploy it well. And I'm actually weirdly enough a fan of zoning. Like I'm a fan of fighting and zoning, especially in other games too.
I mean that makes sense. Like it's kind of funny because you brought up games that if you don't like projectiles you would probably like, and you said Soul Calibur, Tekken. You missed the best one, which is Dead or Alive.
I thought
it's funny
of that
because
after the fact.
These are the fighting games I enjoy.
All the 3D
It's like
ones.
Soul Calibur, Tekken.
I've been wanting to play more Tekken.
Dead or Alive. I haven't played Tekken in ages, but like when I played, I was a fucking child and spammed one button and fucking mashed at people. But like I don't know, it's just to me when you play a fighting game, I want to like fight you. I don't want to like sit at range and throw shit at you. You know what I mean? Like I want to get up and close. I want to punch you in the face. You know, I want to feel like I'm beating your ass. Like to me, that's what a fighting game is. If that's not in there, it's not a fighting game. That's actually why I fell out of what was that Marvel game that you were playing? I fell out of that because there's just so much fucking range.
Dude. Well, okay, so in Dragon Ball versus Marvel, like Dragon Ball, like zoning is not that good. In Marvel,
it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, just the clip of Morgan, bro. It's not a good look.
I was like, yep, this is why I stopped playing it.
The thing that my gripe with Dragon Ball is I love Dragon Ball, but it's not a fighting game that has traditional fighting game concepts. Like I love it as just like the fast-paced, go crazy, go ham, but that's why I go to like Guilty Gear and Street Fighter, because there's actually zoning, there's actually mid-range characters, there's actually a grappler, there's actually rushdown, like there's dedicated archetypes.
A lot of these things are just things that pull me out of the game, you know.
Yeah, and I wanted to make a cross, and I'm sure you already got it, but that's totally fine. If you tell me, it's like, yeah, I'm probably never gonna play this game again. I'm just like, dude, that I totally understand.
Yeah, which is basically what I told Jason in voice chat. We were talking about it, and I was like, I don't really enjoy this game enough to play it.
I feel it.
I think that he's confused. Which no shade, by the way. I'm not like upset or anything, but I think he's just kind of yeah, fuck him, fuck that guy. I am a little surprised. Because I didn't know that he was going to send that conversation to you, so I was a little surprised when you put the video out. But it doesn't bother me. I didn't expect it.
Whenever I get stuff like that, I'm just like, oh, this would be super interesting to talk about. For
and to be fair,
like,
you didn't give any indication that it was me, so like I'm kind of outing myself. So
dude, saltier than the Red Sea.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
My God, no. So
Call
like,
me fucking Cheetos.
I really had to divorce the idea that Dragon Ball could no longer be the game that I ever wanted it to be, and like, like I can still have fun with it because it's that crazy, over the top, just ridiculous bullshit in a game. And for a period of time, like I like that. I can get into it.
There's a lot of really cool stuff about this game that is really fun. But it's like I said, the problem is it's almost like it's locked behind a chore door. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you gotta do your chores before you can play your games, and it's like, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big League of Legends player. There is about 15 to 20 minutes of chores in League of Legends. The difference is I enjoy those, right? Like I enjoy laning, I enjoy shooting minions, I enjoy cutting off roams, I enjoy going for objectives. Like that's all fun.
Dude, I
But in this
fucked up
game,
because
it's just like,
I was totally gonna be like, oh, hey guys, this is Olaf the Bard, streamer YouTuber guy. You can check out his channel, and I just totally spaced that.
it's
We
all
just
good.
got right
It's all
into the meat of it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's
this, yeah, for those of you that don't know, this is Olaf. You guys can absolutely check him out on the YouTubes and the Twitches. Link to that will be in the description. Where
I don't stream on Twitch really, but I might at some point.
I mean, for the
I've
sake
just
of
been
it,
doing videos.
I feel
live streaming sucks because chat expects your attention, and I hate that.
Ooh. Expects, really?
I'm talking
Wow.
to you guys, chat. I
You
fucking hate you guys.
oh god. I swear.
Each individual person in chat is great. Usually, like if there's one person in my chat, it's fine. But it's when there's like a ton of people in chat, they start like it's like there's this mob mentality of, all right, time to just start being fucking weird. And I'm just like, why are you guys being like this? Just like chill, man.
What the
Like,
fuck?
What the fuck? You know, because like, you know, and I'm not a big streamer. I think my max viewers at one time was 32.
Nice.
You know, and it's
Still
like
pretty good.
when that happened, man, it was just so not fun for me or anyone in the voice chat with me. You know, but I had to pretend it was fun because
Bro.
I was streaming.
Yeah,
you know?
I had like 50 viewers, and I was drawing. I was literally doing the most boring thing alive, and it's like, oh, you've been
People
raided.
like putting that, bro. People like putting that shit in the background.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey guys, I'm just drawing Gogeta. This was when this was post Dragon Ball Super movie, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey guys, I'm just drawing Gogeta, and like, oh, hey streamer guy, who are you? I'm just like, oh, well, if you want my life story, it's not happening right now. Later.
It all started when I was born.
It all, dude.
I mean, to be fair, you've got a good voice for that kind of shit
Oh,
too.
thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome.
That's, do you want to make?
I think real quick, I do want. I'm gonna put emphasis on this for your viewers, you, for Jason, for everyone. I want to emphasize, really, really, really emphasize when you are considering someone's criticisms, and I do think that there was a bit of an implicit bias for you because this is a game you're very passionate about.
I hate this game. This game sucks.
But you are very passionate.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be a little bit defensive.
No,
right?
no, I even thought of that too.
So I wanna caution people when you consider someone's criticism. If you consider that they're salty before you consider anything else, then you're doing a disservice to yourself and to that person. Try and look at it and go, okay, what could be causing this, right? Because it is possible, like you've said in this video, and I think you even said in the first video, that people just don't want to do some things. You know, it is possible that they're just like, yeah, I just don't want to do that. That's just not fun to me. You know, so try and have that mindset when you're considering someone's criticisms, because all criticism is fair, no matter how stupid it is. You know, I could come in here and say, yo, this game shouldn't have beams. Dragon Ball having beams is bad. And that's a stupid criticism. But it's a fair criticism, right? Like, maybe the beams are bad. You know, who knows? So
No,
try and consider people's perspectives from their perspective.
to a capacity. It might not have even come across, because like with Gogeta and Vegito, like I do agree that they really didn't need anything. I thought they were fine.
Yeah,
enough
no,
as is.
you definitely were like, dude, look at this fucking buff. Look at this. This is stupid.
Yeah, so
Not in those words, but that's basically what you were saying.
I kind of wanted to go over more. Well, we kind of went over everything that you're saying, but we can like dig more into it. I never.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, at this point,
It all
I'm
started
turning it
when
over
I
to
was
you. Ask
5.
me whatever question. Yeah.
I was never a fan of C assist, even though I've used them before.
Oh,
like,
I'm aware. I've been watching your videos for many years.
so I wanted to make it known that, like, I guess, like, game plan wise, because I can understand how, especially at low level, like, everyone's trying to employ the same game plan, and especially it may feel like at low level because no one knows how to play neutral. But once you get beyond that, once you graduate, and some people never do, like, there is a world of assist usage, and part of the pollution of beams and key blasts, it just comes from the fact that it's a team game. Like, and like Super Saiyan Vegeta is like a great example for people kind of switching up what they're using, because you look at Super Saiyan Vegeta historically, and like his A assist dominated for so long, like 2 to 3 seasons, and it's still good. And now his C assist, quite good. It's tracking. It's a DP. Takes up a okay portion of the ground and air, like there's a reason why I use it. That shit's cheap, and I will admit it. But now with the change to his B assist, I notice a lot of higher level players are using his B assist. Like I fought Nitro, he was using his B assist. Hook and God is using his B assist, and it's his dash kick. It's taking a more of a portion to more of a portion of the screen. Is quite fast. It's very good. It's like that lariat kind of style, so it should be used defensively.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to like tell more people, it's like, oh, hey, experiment around. Like you might run into some good shit. And also,
I was gonna say,
go ahead. Sorry.
As far as the assists go, I remember watching a Cloud video where he designed his entire system around level 7 Gogeta, and that's what the assists were for, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a thing where he was like, oh, I'm gonna use the assist to open him up. No, he would like, all right, I'm gonna figure out how to get him in the air, and then I'm gonna knock him to the ground, and then we're gonna level 7 Gogeta. Like, so assists are super malleable and can be used in so many situations.
Absolutely.
The problem is most situations that aren't just I'm gonna stand here and press C assist require a pretty good amount of at least practice, if not skill.
Yeah, there's a finesse, but I think there's a certain utilitarianness of some of these other assists, like Adult Gohan A or Teen Gohan A is like a great example of their DP assists. Like you can combo off it, you can use it defensively if someone's trying to super dash at you. You can use it in a block strings, you can use it for pressure, you can kind of use it for mix up as long as you have like a little bit of respect there. It's high hit stun. I don't know about the block stun on it though. That's something I haven't checked. I haven't used a lot of DP assists. I even like ran into a random person that was like, oh hey, I'm like, they were also like, oh, I'm playing Teen Gohan because I want a defensive DP assist, but they used Gotenks B, which I've almost never seen anyone use Gotenks B, which is his miracle super punches. It's just like the quick little auras. And as opposed to like a Sonic Fox that would use Gotenks A, which is like, oh, hey, I'm gonna mix the shit out of you with this assist, or Gotenks C, which is his Beam C assist.
Well, and let's be honest, people at lower ranks, and when I say lower ranks, I mean probably less than like Demon.
Even people just below my rank, and even my rank, like my rank.
Well,
I think
they just, yeah, I think they just don't like mix up. Doesn't really ring with them. You know what I mean? Like. You say mix up, and then a lot of people are just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm just gonna press this button because it does a thing, right? Like, not a lot of people are really thinking about mix-ups when they're like in block stun. Like they're just like, I'm just gonna press buttons.
I'm gonna go burr, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, the first time I learned to do any sort of block string, which was the pretty basic like light 2M 6H, I think it is. What's the overhead 6H?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like just going it from like a medium to a low to a high, like which is like the most basic possible shit ever. Even that was like life changing. I was like, oh fuck, I'm hitting people now.
Dude,
like
that's what I miss about being like a lower level player, because like it's just those little revelations that are just so groundbreaking.
You learned 2 + 2 back then, and it's like just as much as now learning fucking
like a TOD
advanced scientific theory.
Like an option select. Yeah, no, I definitely feel it. The problem I've been running into is getting people to use their brains outside of what I'm teaching. Like, if and Jason's a great example, because he sent me his match footage of a match with him and Rob, and he's just like, oh, let me know if you see anything out of the weirdness. And then I was just like, oh, this is a great example for you to kind of like take a look for yourself and see if you see anything that you want to improve on or work on. And he's like, oh yeah, actually Mark would have me watch my replays when he was coaching me through Overwatch. And I'm just like, oh, okay, good shit, Mark. Like that's.
I would actually watch with him in some points, and a lot of what I would do to try and teach him how to coach himself, because I mostly coached myself when I was going through Overwatch, is when something would happen that was coachable, I would just pause and I would say, okay, what just happened? Or I would say, what's going through your mind right here? What are you thinking? What was your plan? Which he probably at the peak of his skill would have been gold to platinum at the best, and I think that's being a little generous for platinum. Probably would have been about gold for the peak of his skill. I don't know if he ever made it to gold, but when I first started playing with him, he was definitely a bronze tank, which took him a long time to come to grips with.
Tank's hard to like kind of build that
tank
skill set.
Tank isn't like the problem with tank. Your mechanics can be dog shit on tank, and you can be top 500. You don't have to have good mechanics, right? What you have to have is a good brain and a lot of patience. You know, so like that's the problem with tank is you don't get better by practicing, you get better by thinking. And so yeah, it was just a lot of just pausing and going, hey, so what should you have done here? You know, or why didn't this work? Why did you die? You know.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And
that's good advice for everyone trying to self-coach. Just when something happens that like FPS games, I think, are a lot easier than fighting games.
Ooh,
actually, no, I disagree. You know, I disagree with myself already. Fighting games, you can literally just pause and go, "Why did I get hit there?"
Absolutely.
You know,
well,
like,
that's the beginning of the bell curve too.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a direct, non-esoteric answer for like,
yeah.
what could I have done better in that situation?
Yeah, and like, I think another important thing to understand about games and learning self-coaching in games is that you will get diminished returns, but your ability to self-coach will increase exponentially. So like,
Absolutely.
as you coach yourself, you will learn less and less each time, but you will get better at finding things to coach yourself on.
Sure. The reason why I'm super adamant about this as well is because I like how this is no longer about the video, but I'm for it.
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
I think the topics are covered.
So.
Which, by the way, if you want to bring me back to any of those topics,
I'll let you know if I think of anything. But the reason I wanted to get like on like, hey, like I'm totally for like helping you guys like answer questions, but there's gonna be a time where like, let's say you want to pick up a new fighting game, which I know nothing about potentially, or just don't even have any interest in. Like, I'm gonna be playing MK1 when that comes out, and I'm not even an MK head. I'm interested enough to grab it, but I don't really care that much.
Hit up Glitchy. He's probably gonna play it.
Dude, I'll fuck him up.
Yeah, he might fuck you up. Apparently he used to play it a lot.
Dude, I'm a brain genius.
True. Yeah, you learn quickly.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, but
you learn quicker than average.
With that said though, like, yeah, there's gonna be a new game that comes out. Maybe the tutorials aren't that good. Maybe there's not even a tutorial like Tekken 7.
Every American fighter game, to be honest.
And then on top of that, like, you know, if it's day one, there's not gonna be any content. There's not gonna be any guides on the characters that you want to play. So you're gonna have to do some of the heavy lifting initially, and being able to recognize good tools or things that you're doing wrong is very good. That's why I like take really good notes on Tekken or Mortal Kombat. It's because like I've learned so many fighting games, or even just the basics of fighting games, that some of these skills and some of these tools that I reconize transition over, and I'm sure that goes a lot for shooters as well.
I mean, for any game, and I like to I like to create the image for this to help people understand. When you first start playing a game that is unlike any game you've ever played before, it's going to feel like you're stuck in place and you're not going in. The way I picture this for people is that you've got to imagine that if you have, say you have like a learning curve, like let me get my hands, right? So you have a learning curve here, right? This is the best you can possibly be. This is the worst you can possibly be. The problem is that from here to here is like a downhill thing slowly, right? So it's a little bit easier to go from here to here. But this is a straight line. You have to climb this, meaning learning the mechanics and basics, to start going this way, right? And so the problem is when people have a shitty tutorial, you can't learn the mechanics and basics from the game. Instead, you have to teach them yourself or learn them from someone else.
Absolutely.
And the more you do that, the more you play games that require you to learn by yourself, the better you get at it. It's kind of like climbing a mountain, right? First time you climb a mountain, you're not going to fucking climb Everest, right? But there are people who climb Everest because they've climbed so many mountains that it's easier.
Absolutely.
You know, so the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. That's why I tell people, don't just play one type of game. Don't just, like, if you're a first-person shooter player and you're trying to be the best in the world, play other types of games. Don't just play Valorant. Don't just play Overwatch. Go play some fighting games. Go play some card games. Go play some turn-based games. Real-time strategy. Like, diversify, you know? That's going to help you learn how to learn.
In part, like, I've been wanting to play like a little bit of League anyways, just because it's been so long, and it's just like, I feel like I've purged all the salt out of my body from League of Legends. Maybe I could introduce it a little bit. No,
you haven't. Trust me.
There's toxicity everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And when I was like stopping playing League and like playing a lot more fighting games initially, I was just like, what if I take a fighting game approach to League of Legends? And I started doing that, and it was actually showing some good results too.
Sure.
not all that long ago, and I'm gonna be posting this somewhat soon, hopefully tomorrow. Cody and I have a shared channel. It's DualShock, and I recorded some Guilty Gear on there. And I was trying to convey like, oh, hey, learning fighting games doesn't have to be that hard. You can get started with the very simple basics and get going within like less than 20 minutes. And the problem comes from that Cody is like, oh yeah, like the way you explain it, like really, really great. Like everything that you're saying makes sense. The problem comes from the fact that it makes so much less sense if you're not here to explain it the way that you are. And that's definitely at the fault of the actual game itself. Which is why I would think it'd be so cool if, not just in fighting games, but every game had where the developer got with people from the community to explain core mechanics.
Yes.
So like, hey, like on the main menu or something like that, they work with like a pro player. It's like, oh, hey, I'm gonna explain the basics of neutral, or I'm gonna explain how footsies work. I'm gonna explain frame traps. And I'm just like, dude, something like that, and something like a new MK, that'd be super sick. Or even if they did that in League or whatever, like I think something like that would be great for helping get started on the bell curve of like.
Sure.
More competitive play, I guess. Like
I think also learning your learning pace is important.
Absolutely.
There's this. Have you ever seen the Jackie Chan movie, The Forbidden Kingdom?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so the story. I don't remember all the stories. This was a 2008 movie. It's old as fuck. But basically, this American teenager from modern times gets time traveled back into old, I don't even know what era, China, back when they did Kung Fu. And he meets Jackie Chan, who is a Kung Fu master. And the kid's like, bro, you gotta teach me some Kung Fu. And so they go on this journey, I can't remember what for, but the relevant part of this is that they go multiple days, and Jackie doesn't teach him anything. And he's like, when are you gonna teach me something? Right? And basically, he's not ready to learn anything because at this point, he's still treating it like, oh, this cool fucking Kung Fu thing.
Yeah.
And so he grabs the stick, he has like a stick he's hitting bushes with, and he walks up to him, hits him in the shoulder with it, and then goes, that is strike. Tomorrow I teach you block. And a lot of people can probably take that as a philosophy to their learning competitive games is sometimes you just got to learn to hit people first and then see where it goes. Maybe you just need to learn how to block, like,
oh my God.
Sometimes pacing is a super important thing, and it's funny because like shit like that sticks in my mind. That was obviously meant to be a joke, but I think there's actually a whole lot of philosophy there where like, you're not ready to learn anything. So here, this is how you hit someone. Now you've learned how to hit someone because you didn't know before,
Totally.
I wonder if I can find that clip.
Learning how you learn is like super important. I'm not sure if like you figured yourself out as like I don't know.
A little bit,
but
not obviously not completely.
Yeah, once you get that like understanding of like, hey, this is how I like this. People wonder, is like, oh my God, like you're such a fast learner. I don't know how you do it. And I've gotten that before. I know you've gotten that before. And
I know. You want me to answer?
I'm a genius.
You want me to answer? I can tell you the answer. It's actually super simple. The answer is I played multiple games and got better at them and kept doing that over and over again. And each time I did it a little bit faster.
Yeah, just that, like, people see results. They see as like, oh my God, this person is extremely proficient at this game. Like, yes. God, it would be so cool if I.
Oh man, I'm getting all the references right now.
Gosh.
I've got another one for you.
Yeah, lay it on me. Go for it.
All right, so this one we're going to the anime weeb stuff. This is a Haikyuu reference.
Oh boy.
And so in Haikyuu, there are multiple characters. They're in nationals now. There are multiple characters that are regarded as geniuses, right? Like these guys are just on another level of volleyball. They're just so fucking good that no normie can stand up to them. And there's this player on the Inarizaki team that's like, man, these guys are geniuses. It's crazy. It's kind of scary playing against them. And the captain of the team, who's sitting on the bench with him, is like, he has a whole big spiel. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it. But basically what he says is the difference between them and us isn't that they were born good at this thing. It's that everything that I do, they do, but then they also do it in every different way they can think to do it. And then in that process, they become better. And if you think that it's just because they're just built different, you're wrong, and it's rude to think that, right?
Yeah.
So it's rude to just assume, oh, you're just so good, bro. Like, I wish I was good like you. And it's like, no, you can be. You just don't see the, how many hours do you have in fighters at this point? Like
over
4,000 or
1,000.
5,000?
No,
You gotta have a lot more than that. There's no way.
no, I definitely
Okay.
only.
Well, 1,000's still a lot.
Let's call it like 1,200.
Well, you don't see, like, oh, if you see the 200 hours of video content you've made, they don't see the 1,000 hours of you grinding and trying to improve and being upset because you're not making enough progress, being frustrated because you're dropping combos, right?
I'm sure
They don't, they don't see you having to go through that adversity, and because they don't see that, they don't understand. They think that they're different because they struggle through those things. Okay, well, fucking G over here, Sind over here, he didn't struggle through this stuff, right? Like, he's just like uploading videos where he's fighting like pro players and shit. Like, man, why can't I be like that? It's like, well, you can be. Just put 1,200 hours into it.
No, straight up.
So like, yeah, that's the big thing with the whole genius mindset is no genius was born that way. Michael Jordan sucked at basketball, bro.
Oh, he talks about his older brother too.
But he said he was gonna be good. You know what I mean?
Dude, fuck yeah.
So he decided.
So like, I used to get mad too when people were like, oh my god, you're like, whatever it be, whether it was guitar, drawing, or fighting games or whatever.
And drawing is actually where I got this from, because someone, I was talking to someone about their art. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. You're so good at that. That's awesome. And someone's like, man, I wish I could draw well.
Fuck you.
And the person literally looked them dead in the eye and said, no, what you wish is that you had the patience to learn how to draw. And I was like,
that's bars! Oh my god! Fucking roasted. Holy shit. No, because
but that is true. It's 100% true.
I used to hate the word talented because kind of like the speech you were going over for Haikyuu was like saying someone is talented ignores all the hard work that they put in to get to where like you're like acute view of them is like perceiving them. Like, I mean, you've probably spent countless hours in Overwatch. You've probably spent like a considerable amount of time in League.
Actually,
I would tell my friend, one of my best friends, Brandon. I was like, oh, dude, come on, get into fighting games. So it's like, oh, I just couldn't be good at fighting games like that. I was like, oh, dude, how much time have you spent into League? Thousands, absolutely. It's like, oh, if you spent a fraction of that time, you would be probably pretty damn good at any fighting game or multiple fighting games, whatever you'd pick up. It's just like
also
comfort games. What can I say?
Also, playing enough isn't the only important thing.
Absolutely.
There are people who have played Overwatch for thousands of hours and are bronze. There are things that are going to hold you back. What is going to make you better is, instead of saying it's not my fault, it's this thing's fault, you have to take responsibility even if it isn't. You have to say, okay, it's not my fault, but how do I fix it, right? So there's more to it than just playing, right? Like, we are having this conversation with the assumption that there is a competitive drive, but if you have no competitive drive and you're not trying to improve, which is fine,
totally.
You don't have to have a competitive drive. You can just choose to play at whatever rank you're at, but if you want to improve, the competitive drive and the amount of time invested are the most important thing.
Yeah, actually, Jason has been talking to me about that because he's like super like into Dragon Ball again. Like, he had his lull where like he kind of dipped, and then like now he's back on it, which is sick. Like, I'm super stoked for him. But he's like, oh man, like I want Rob to like kind of come on this journey with me. It's like, oh, here's the thing, like if Mark,
I think that's part of our conversation here too. Is I think he wanted me to as well.
If Mark doesn't want to get into it, like, that's just his choice. If Rob doesn't want to like improve like that, like that's his choice. Like, I think it was like based around combos, which for me personally, I love doing combos. Combos are so fun. I love learning them. They're super fascinating.
It's actually, I don't know. Did they make a change to Gogeta's stun? Because like I feel like the combo I used to do wasn't working. Okay, got it.
Stun of what part? Because
like when he's got people in the air, he's beating the fuck out of them. The amount of time before they get out of them. Because either I'm bad and actually forgot my combo, or the way I remember my combo doesn't work anymore. That's most likely the scenario.
It's possible that the latter's the case as well. The only thing that I can think of that they changed was he has more hit stun on his JS and 5S, which kind of goes to the theme where they want you to be able to super dash cancel off beams and beam like things. So he can do that now from I believe full screen. People will like 5H, 5S, and then super dash for him.
So it was probably on my part. There was a combo that you know my normal combo I usually do with them. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
So it's most likely my fault.
So with that said, too, I did want to talk about this Rob thing as well, because Jason's like, "Oh, dude, just try this combo or whatever," and Rob's like, "Nah," and I'm just like, "Oh yeah, if he doesn't want to, like that's on him. If he doesn't want to grind out the game or get better at the game, that's fine. He just can't be upset if he's like losing or anything like that." Now, with that said, there are ways to improve at a fighting game that's not combos. Like, you can have the most garbage combos in the world, but if your neutral game and your mental and just setups is incredible.
If you never lose neutral, you can't be combo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to kill in way more hits. It's going to take way more hits to kill, but like, it was God, what was this tournament? It was season 1 or season 2, I want to say. It was the Tournament of Power or something like that. It was
it the Universe
Summit
tournament?
of Power. Summit of Power was what it was called. They literally got a...
Is that actually what it's called?
Yeah, it was a Dragon Ball event. They do the same thing for Smash. They rented out a house.
I thought you were talking about in the show.
No.
What are you talking about?
So yeah, it was a tournament where they got all the killer names at the time, and they just got like either like an Airbnb or they rented out the place or whatever. And it's so cool because it was just killers in there. And they asked everyone, it's like, "Oh, hey, like, what person are you guys worried about running into? What person are you guys worried about running into?" And everyone's like, "Dude, I'm afraid of seeing Kazunoko. I don't want to run into this motherfucker. He's playing Yamcha, bro. That motherfucker's scary." But the thing about Kazunoko, everyone's like, "Oh, who has the wackest combos here?" Kazunoko. Kazunoko combos are the wackest in here, and it's because his neutral game and his decision making is so strong that it doesn't matter if he's not optimal.
And also because no one plays Yamcha.
Well,
I bet you Yamcha has a lower than 6% play rate.
Dude, I don't know, man. I couldn't even tell you. I could tell you who's got the highest play rate, probably. It is Fusions and Yuan Goku. And,
surprising.
Yeah, I know, right? At all levels too. It never gets any better. Just the things you have to worry about get worse.
Gogeta Red has 101% play rate. How does that even work?
Which is funny because he's so good, but you just see Gogeta Blue and Vegeta way more.
I think Gogeta Blue and Vegeta are just easier to play.
You think so?
I think Gogeta Red takes more skill. Like, Gogeta Red has less cheap bullshit. Like, it's stuff that's like really good in higher ranks, but not as good in lower ranks, which is kind of surprising.
Dude, Gogeta Red is... I mean, that auto combo just is a full-on anti-air now. Like, it's not a good look, bro.
There's a lot of really frustrating things about him, but I think that, like, it's not the same as, like, okay, you're on the other side of the screen for me, and I'm Gogeta. Quarter circle, medium.
Dude, just 2M. Just 2M.
Yeah, just 2M.
2M,
just command grab, because that confirms into combo now, doesn't it?
Yeah, dude. Without Vanish, he needs it.
He needed it. He needed it. And you know what? Videl needed to be nerfed. I think she needs to be nerfed.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about Videl because I'm gonna experiment around with her a little bit myself because I want to see if she has a 4LL, which is gonna help out. It's kind of the same approach you want to take with Teen Gohan because you can't autopilot run up on someone in 5LL and get like a generic block string.
I will tell you this: 5L for her is already a bad. It's short, stubby. It's not very forward advancing.
Yeah. Dude, I feel it with
you're
Trunks,
gonna be using you're typically gonna be using your 2M or your quarter circle light more than you would be using your 5.
Bro, like stubby 5Ls, I'm there for it, bro. Trunks, that motherfucker looks like he's snatching some bitch's purse, bro.
He's got a fucking sword. Like,
he does, but if you're, bro, I have
it.
been whiff punished on my own plus frames so many times because I have just gone to take my plus frames with 5L, grabs a bitch's purse, and I get counter hit, and it's, ooh, man. But I do have a 2L, so.
I fucking, speaking of 5Ls, Bardock 5L is still kind of crazy.
It's pretty good. It's like
just the fact that he has like the fucking like the upward attack and the slam, like
he actually needs it though. I will say
he does.
Like
Bardock felt pretty balanced.
Some would say he's the worst character in the game.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess I should say Bardock felt like the balance I want the game to be.
Sure. Well, I mean, the whole game was kind of molded around Bardock because back in the day, he used to be the top tier that everyone was worried about. Great level 3, degenerate normals, good lariat, good neutral. I think the only weakness that he had that people were just like, it's alright, is his Ki Blast.
But his 2M is pretty bad.
Man, they just give him his safe jump back on his level 3, bro. He actually needs it. But he has cool and interesting combos now. He's got like some kind of loops, I think, or something, which he's always had. Loops, just different loops.
Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about Videl.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Videl.
Before I sidetracked us.
It's just gonna be one of those things where, not necessarily you, but maybe for you at home, if you want to play Videl, like you're just obviously you should and could play the characters that you want to play. It's just gonna take a little bit more thought, which I know in this game is a bit rough to have to think because you have characters like Gogeta Blue and Vegito.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, Videl doesn't take thought. Use Gohan to make them block, quarter circle medium. Easy.
See, but you're gonna have people like me that can actually block.
Yeah, but you know, you just fucking do the thing, flip around him, and then you get distance, you just do it again.
I actually had a fight of Videl, and I actually got tick thrown because of her auto combo change, like, I want to say 2 times. I actually did counter hit her for doing that, though, like, a couple times as well, but...
Yeah, I think that, like,
came up.
At first, it's really, really gonna be good, right? For the first little while after Videl's change, she's going to be like super strong with her throw, and people are just going to get fucking caught by it over and over again. Once people start getting used to it and they're like, oh yeah, don't block the second hit, I don't think she's going to throw anyone. I don't think it's ever going to happen again.
So that's where the reverse kind of comes into play, where people are going to adapt and get used to doing different block strings. So they're going to do like 5L2L, 5M2M. And then the throw off is going to be the auto combo, where it's like nobody uses the full auto. It's like Beerus.
It's kind of like
nobody uses the full auto combo. Yeah, exactly.
I can't tell you how many times I see high rank players just get hit by the overhead on Goku's auto.
Dude, absolutely. It's happened to me. I've done it to other people as well, where it's just like nobody does the full thing. Come on, dude. And then you get hit
everyone knows. Everyone knows the auto combo sucks. Why would you do it?
That's like saying Jiren 5H is reactable, or it's just like nobody does Jiren 5H. It's reactable. It's like 30 frames or something like that. And then you just get yanked by the scruff of your neck like a newborn puppy. And it's like
it's like the new 21 Super. It's like, no one's gonna do that. That's got like 800 frames to it.
I still haven't even seen too much on people doing anything with that.
Bro, there is a Cloud video that is designed to use that Super.
Oh, golly.
And it is kind of absurd. Once again, using assist. I think Cloud's like the assist fucking
I mean, you're gonna have to, because...
Yeah, you have to. It's such a long startup.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, bro. It's so cool. I fucking love to see it. Because when I saw it on the patch notes, I'm like, bro, this is the most like situational garbage bullshit I've ever seen in my life. Couldn't we have given her something like actual change? Like,
I'm pretty sure you could super dash at her from full screen and she would still be in startup.
I'm pretty sure you could just casually walk up to her at full screen and she'd still be in startup.
Dude, just play the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. Yeah, and just strut your stuff. You'll make it there in no time.
Bully Maguire walking up to 21.
I think I want to wrap things up by kind of like readdressing the initial points, kind of having some closing thoughts on them, and then get out of here because I need to take a fucking shower. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Same, actually.
So, starting things off.
Oh damn, this boy got notes.
Well, I had to because I was at work when I was like writing this shit down.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how this. Real quick, I do want to say I wasn't sure how this conversation would go, and since I was like, it was kind of like a confrontation to an extent.
Yeah,
you know,
fuck
like,
you,
hey,
Mark.
Hey, you said these things, and I think they're wrong. You know.
Okay, so
I was gonna send you notes on what I was gonna say, just so you weren't blindsided. But I'm like, nah, he's a reasonable person, and as long as I'm not yelling at him, he's gonna be all right.
So, starting things off, in general, I don't enjoy the amount of projectiles in the game. That's fair. That's totally...
Yeah, it's just that, like, it's an opinion, right? Like,
yeah, I have no problems with that. I understand
you can't be wrong. It's, you know,
no, if I say you're wrong, dude.
and that's why I brought the point of the statement of fact thing. If I had said the projectiles in the game is really unhealthy, you'd be like, well, actually...
Well, you
It's
want to
not,
see some unhealthy
you know.
shit? Have you ever watched My 500-Pound Life or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so also the fact that most broken characters have gone through 2 patch notes and didn't do anything to change it.
Mhm.
They
Referring
did
to just
change. They got better.
they changed, right? But and this was a point for me that I kind of went in debater mode because like you did read it pretty literally. I think in most conversation settings, though, if someone were to say that, they would understand what I'm saying is
No, I got what
it
you're
just
saying.
didn't change the fact that they're open, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's from my perspective, it's just Bandai has their favorites. They want these characters to be either really strong or top tier. We actually don't know, and I don't even know if I said this, but we don't know where everyone's sitting right now. A
Sure.
lot of
Oh yeah,
characters
it's
got
still up in the air.
considerably better.
Yeah.
And God, this game, take it for what it is. There's a bunch of garbage in this game, but this is probably one of the most balanced fighting games just because
I'll be
there's a
honest
lot
with you.
homogeny.
Something that's kind of funny about balance that I've noticed in the games I've played, the less garbage there is in a game, not only is it the less fun, but it's less balanced.
You need
There
garbage.
has to be garbage for the game to be fun and balanced.
Absolutely. Look at
That's
Marvel
why I love
2.
League of Legends. Alawi exists, and the game still got pretty decent balance.
Yeah, like games absolutely need bullshit. Bullshit needs to exist, or else you're gonna just have such a dry product. Like,
Yeah.
if everyone's playing the same character, like it's just no fun.
If
There's no
everyone's
personality
super,
there.
no one will.
Exactly, and that's why that's kind of was my perspective a little bit. And as much as it's a meme, like it's actually true, because everyone's like, God, I want Trunks, or I want Videl, or Bardock, or Yamcha to be like top tier like Gogeta. I'm just like, no, you need distinguished tiers. You like, it's okay for a character. I honestly, if Trunks stayed like bottom tier, or if he like let's just say he rests at bottom tier or whatever, I'm okay with that. Like, I like taking a low tier character and making them look good.
I think the problem is when we look at the tier thing. If you used a different game's tier system, this game would probably fit into 2 of the tiers. It would fit in like S and A tier, right? Because like this game actually has really close balance.
Yeah.
Like that's what a lot of people don't realize is the characters are fairly balanced. And I actually I watched one of my videos talking about this game, and I'm like, you can play whatever you want, man. This game's perfectly not perfectly, but it's finely balanced, right? Obviously, if your only objective is to climb the ladder, you're gonna play Lab Coat, Gogeta, Vegito, right?
Maybe
like
not even Lab Coat. Well, okay, so
not anymore. But back then you.
Yeah, I mean back then 100%, and especially with like the meter penalty that they gave.
Yeah.
I mean all of those characters, I think they're all 3 nerfed by 50%.
Yeah.
Like your lethality is gonna be so low. I mean you're gonna play
but
the
back
neutral
then, bro,
damn
like,
well and degenerately, but yeah, you're
back then
spitting.
you get one hit with fucking Lab Coat
you
at
were
the beginning of
blown
the
up.
fight, and you can literally just kill someone. Like, it was
If
kinda
you had
crazy.
meter for EX spin, it was TOD City. You were dying. You were losing that character.
GG, bro, just give up.
So it feels like the neutral in the game is centered around staying full screen and throwing projectiles or using C assist to poke until someone makes a mistake, making the game more reliant on not making mistakes rather than on being mechanically better or having more knowledge of the game. Do you still kind of feel that way? You'd say so?
I mean, from a perspective of where I'm playing it, I said, I watch high level players all the time. I'm fully aware that that's not what high level play looks like.
As long
but
as
I
you know.
think, yeah, I know. Like, and I think that's where the disconnect with me and you was. Like, your well was kind of poisoned with pro players, right? Like, you're like, no, I don't see that, and it's like, well,
They're neutral.
You don't play like you don't play against the people I play against.
No, I mean, I was
with that
there
kind of
though.
stuff,
I
you
was
know?
there, and to a capacity.
Right,
I'm
but it was a
still there.
little different back then.
Sure.
You couldn't beam into Super Dash, right? Like,
No, that's fair. I mean, you could do off an assist or something like that. I mean, same thing, different poison.
But then you're investing different or more valuable resources, right? Like most beams don't even take key in the game.
So,
you know?
yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. But once you kind of get out of that, dude, once you get into the good stuff, like there was a game that I played a while ago that I think I lost. It was close. It was like 2-1 or something like that. And I was just like, damn, that was a good fucking game. Can I friend this guy? This shit was sick, bro. The neutral was so good. And dude, yeah, just once you get that good match and like,
yeah.
oh
I
my
think,
god.
like I said, the problem for me, and this was my second statement that I don't think you got, was that's the chores that I don't want to slog. You know, like to me, the reward of the game being what I hoped it was isn't worth slogging through the chores.
The problem comes from like the ease of access of this game, because there is a lot of degenerate shit that you can do low level, and you won't know how to answer it until you know how to answer it. And part of the problem that you were going through when you're just like, all right, like, let me learn how to like combat some of this shit, is when you're thinking about the game critically while everyone's just autopilot mashing, doing the thing that's always worked for them, it's going to be a slog for a while. And then like, then it's going to show that like, it's going to take a while to get to the point where like, your results are bared, and then you're just going to be beating the shit out, like, dude, you're just going to mash. I'm going to fucking...
Because for like, the thing for me, like, if let's say I have 10 patients for learning, right? Let's say that my patience max out at 10. Doesn't mean that I'm willing to put 10 patients to everything I do, right? So if I were to play this game, and at first when I was playing the game and I was doing what everyone else was doing, I was super dashing and neutral, you know, I was vanishing every time I got a chance, I was, you know, wake up level 3ing, I was spamming auto attack. When I was doing that, probably, you know, that was probably like a 1 patient situation where it was about how cool the game was, not about learning them. If I had said, you know, I'm gonna max out on 4 patients on this game, that's all this game's worth to me, and then like basically what happened was I was like, okay, I gotta learn how to combat this bullshit before I can learn how to play the game. And combating the bullshit took 5 patients, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Totally. That's absolutely fair. Man, like, and the thing, kind of adding on my own statement, was, oh my god, my brain, hold on. It's like the car wants to turn over. Oh my god. Give me a minute. You're not helping. So okay, I got it. Windows has started running. So, and this is part of doing your homework, and I know doing your homework sucks, but like, I always use anti-airing as an example just because it's such a simple example. If you're worried about everything that's going on during a game, and then someone jumps at you and is like, oh god, I got hit, like, what do I do there? You have 30 moves to worry about. It's like, oh fuck, I don't know what one of my 30 moves kind of stops that approach. It's like, oh, okay, well now you narrow it down to, okay, so this, I need to anti-air this. I have 6 moves that anti-air, or could potentially anti-air. And then someone jumps at you again, it's like, oh, I need a crouching heavy punch there. And then someone jumps at you, anti-air, success. And it's just that, like, over time, kind of developing and ingraining that muscle memory of knowing what to do, where, like, honestly, so much of my videos are just me on my autopilot shit, like, not even thinking critically about the game, and that was just built up over season after season of, like, grinding and playing the game. And you get that across, like, multiple other games. Like, your autopilot's gonna get better, you're gonna develop as a player in any game you play, but it's just gonna take its time to get there. And I think that's, you run into people that don't want to put in that time to kind of make that, like, make those leaps, kind of think about their own gameplay critically, and it's
or people like me who just, they thought critically and went, oh, I gotta think more critically. Nah, I'm good.
pass.
Because right, like, I was doing that, you know, and you've seen the videos that I put out where I talk about, in this video, you know, in this session, I was trying to focus on this, and, you know, I'm struggling with this, so I'm focusing on that. There was a video where I told Glitchy, I need you to play Broly against me because I suck against Broly, and I got the shit kicked out of me again, you know, like. But then it just got to the point where I was like, okay, but on top of learning, you know, because anti-air I really needed to work on, right? 2Hing specifically, I did not 2H very often, which I got really good at, I think, for my rank. I needed to work on defense, right? Like, I only blocked. There's so many other defensive things you can do in this game. Well, maybe not so many. There's other defensive things you can do in this game. I needed to get better at assists, you know, I needed to get better at dealing with armor, and all these things that I was learning, and then I was like, oh yeah, and I need to figure out how to not get fucking mashed into by 2 Gogetas.
One of
and then that was like the push over the edge where that I was like getting ready to climb down the mountain, and someone just kind of walked up and like shoved me full force, and I went, okay, yeah, that's it.
One of my favorite things about fighting games, though, is you get your most, like, especially as compared to like other games, is you get your most direct feedback like almost right away. Like, let's say, like, I need to work in the Gogeta matchup, like, and I need to figure out, like, how to avoid getting mashed on. It's like, oh, like you lab your tech, whatever you want to develop, and then you pull off your tech. You get a direct response. You get a direct answer. It's like, oh yes, that worked, and that worked exactly the way I wanted it to. Whereas I feel like, and this could just be a perception thing, but I feel like in other games, like the bits of progress that you experience are just a bit more abstract, and you have to like think a little bit harder on them. It's not as visual.
That's
where
true.
it's like,
It's more conceptual.
yeah, I need to increase my accuracy, like, and your accuracy did go up, but it went up by like 2%, and it's like, oh, and 2%.
Also,
in the
bad
grand
advice.
scheme of
I
things.
always tell people, fucking forget about your accuracy. Accuracy is going to improve as you play.
Sure,
Don't do aim
accuracy
training.
was
You're
just-
not a pro player. 1% increase in your accuracy isn't going to make or break your game.
Accuracy was just like the lazy point.
Yeah.
I
No,
guess.
I get it.
You have
I
to
just
think
want to
more
bring that
like
because
macro play.
Yeah, because that's something people talk about all the time. I always tell people in Overwatch, because I used to coach lower rank because I was a diamond player. I used to coach lower rank support players, and they're like, "How do I get to diamond?" Because the biggest elo hell in Overwatch is probably platinum to diamond. If not, then it's gold to platinum. And well, I guess I can't say that from bronze to diamond because I've never been masters or grandmasters. I don't know what the elo hell like that looks like, but from my experience, and I would always tell people, they'd be like, "Oh, well, my aim's really bad, and like I die a lot because I lose gunfights." And I'm okay. Well, let's watch your video, and then I watch them, and then they'll be like 20 feet away from the nearest wall, trying to shoot at someone who's head glitching, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, your aim isn't really the problem here. The problem is they can just shoot at you, and there's nothing stopping their bullets. You need to learn how to position. You need to learn how to path. Right, your pathing's super important. Taking cover, knowing where to move, how to move, when to move. Like movement in first-person shooters is literally the most important mechanic to learn, and people don't learn.
Absolutely, I would agree. It's pretty important in fighting games too. Like,
Absolutely.
I watched I watched the replay of Rob and Jason, and still it's like I see guys kind of like, and that's where I was like, oh man, I could see how you would say like low level, sitting back waiting for assists, and it's like, oh, because there's not a whole lot of neutral being played. It's like, oh, dude, that's why like the first thing I address when I teach any fighting game is like, oh, hey, understand your movement and your movement options. Like, not just being able to walk around, but being able to dash, what your kit offers as far as moving across the screen.
Which I will say something that I noticed that was a little frustrating, simply because it didn't work anymore. Was that so when I play Videl at lower ranks and I slam someone into the ground, I can do the quarter circle combo, and usually it'll hit them and they'll block. But you can actually tech where you go higher than that combo can hit you, and all of a sudden you can go for an overhead because I can't block in time. And that's what Rob kept doing to me, and I was like, fuck.
So he was up teching then.
Yeah, so and that's just comes out to knowing the movement. If he didn't know that, then every time I slammed him into the ground, I would literally just be putting him back in block screen.
So one thing I wanted to address with them as well was like level 3 pressure. Level 3s, and this could be advice for you too, but I know you don't really have a desire to play Dragon Ball, but I'm
gonna be honest with you, if I had it my way, I would level 3 every time I had 3 bars.
That's totally fair. So when I was watching Jason's video, he level 3'd as Super Saiyan Goku, and he lost corner, which is fine. Like, he just used Super Saiyan 3 level 3, and what he did to pressure made me like vomit in my.
Don't tell me he level 3'd again.
No, he's super dashed on his on his knockdown.
On the guy laying on the ground.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, you could have just ran up to him. Like, a more advanced player would have like vanished while they were knocked down and pressured that way and got like a 4-way mix up. I was just like, all right, we're gonna work on something called Oki. But honestly, I think that's just about it for me. If do you have any closing thoughts on or anything like that?
Just a emphasis on micro is less important than macro play. If you don't know what micro play and macro play are, look it up. I'm not your coach. And when you take criticism from someone, you need to. Well, actually, if it's like Jason or Rob, someone I know, I'll tell you what the difference is. But someone I don't know, fuck you, get out of here. But and then when you're taking criticism, literally take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
Okay,
Just
not literally, not literally.
Don't assume that someone's being salty. Assume that there is a legitimate grievance that is there, but because they're frustrated, it's coming out differently than you think. Which
and
in this case wasn't what happened, but I know that that's happened in the past. Sure. That's probably why Jason was confused. So yeah, just when there's salt, don't assume fire, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to say too to you, yeah, like I totally like respect your opinion, and I think your opinion is totally valid. I cherish you. I think you're important. You're a good human.
Hey, you too. You too.
Oh shit, baby. I mean, we could talk about that later.
Listen, we're stopping the recording, but that doesn't mean we're shutting off the cameras.
Let's get it on. I've been really trying, baby. Oh my god. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And if you guys want to check out this individual, you can absolutely do that by checking out Olaf the Bard on YouTube, and I believe
you just put in youtube.com/OlafTheBardYT. It'll take you straight to my channel.
What can they find on your channel, my friend?
Fuck, dude, what can't they find? I've got League of Legends videos. I've got I just finished a Life is Strange video with Zendrakai.
Fuck yeah.
I'm working on my Black and White Soul Link Nuzlocke. We'll be starting a new Nuzlocke soon. Spoiler alert, we lose this one. Yeah, so it's just a whole lot of different shit.
Fuck yeah.
Whatever I feel like playing, essentially.
Well, yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us. All of the links to everything and my stuff will be in the description as well. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.